two big developments that we just had in Davos, okay? So you heard the Greenland thing. Okay, good. Another thing he said at Davos, because remember, it's largely an economic summit, right? Credit card interest rates. Now, I have been criticizing the administration for getting pushed off them by the industry, and it took 3 days for that to happen. Why? They got money, they get power, companies win. But maybe I was wrong. Listen.
One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt. They charge Americans interest rates of 28%, 30%, 31%, 32%. Whatever happened to usury? I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year. And this will help millions of Americans save for a home. They have no idea they're paying 28%. They go out there a little late in their payment and they end up losing their house.
All right, good. I want to talk, look, this is true, but is it the entire truth? Is this something that can happen? So I want to talk about the political and the economic implications of what happened in Davos. And I got two great people for it, okay? Former NATO Allied Commander and 4-star Air Force General Philip Breedlove and John McNiff, okay? One of my oldest and best friends, but that's not why he's here. He wouldn't even watch the show on that basis. But he is the founder of Motum Capital Management, and he understands these credit markets very well about what works for the companies and what needs to change, if anything. Gentlemen, thank you both. General, I'll start with you because you're a general, and I mean, and look at him. Look at those glasses. That alone, General. I mean, this guy, you know, I'm going to give him a chance to just take those off. But General, let me ask you something. The framework with NATO that would give the U.S. sovereignty over pockets of Greenlandic territory to build bases, what does that mean to you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show again. The actual piece about bases is not new. We've had that capability since 1951 in the treaty we signed then. I think that this partial sovereignty, which we don't know is really a part of the agreement, but everyone is speculating, that's probably actually going to play out more on the economic side, the rare earth, access to minerals and things. That's where that will primarily play out. We have everything we need to increase and secure the defense of America now. It will just be easier based on this agreement.
To those who are saying this is a keyhole into the real problem, it's not China, it's not Russia, it's NATO that is the drag on American security. What do you think of that idea?
Well, you're asking a former SACEUR, and I do not agree with that. NATO is the most successful alliance in the history of the world. The next 75 years will be more important than the last 75 years. And I think what the president did today by ratcheting back and taking down some of the harsh measures is going to preserve the idea that NATO is important into the future. And frankly, I applaud him for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was happy to hear it. The escalation of rhetoric at home and abroad is really something I don't think either of us have really ever had to deal with in our own power structure. All right, let me shift topics here. This is the World Economic Forum. Johnny, you've heard what I've been saying, that, yeah, look, if you could get these companies to charge less, that'd be great. But help us understand the plus minus, because the pushback that we understand, other than but capitalism, which doesn't work for me, is, you know, they're going to stop lending if you do this. You know they're going to stop lending. Well, help us understand where the line is and how it works.
Sure. So in the short run, it's obviously a huge positive for anyone with credit card debt, right? You go from 20, 25% interest rates down to 10. The knock-on effects that, you know, we'd see from that, in all likelihood, and you already had, you know, Jamie Dimon come out and say about how the negative effects this will have on lending, are that the banks will back away from lending to these borrowers when these rates go back up. They're not going to have this uncertainty. They price them in based on their assumptions on defaults. And they're also going to most likely cause other consumer products to go higher to replace that revenue stream. right, and offset the potential losses that he claims would happen by having him at these levels. So you could see auto loans going higher. You see home equity lines of credit rates going higher. You could see mortgage rates going higher. So giving the piece of candy out that Trump is doing with this move to 10% to the consumer, I'm all for it. The state-run capitalism piece of it, I'm all against. I think there's probably a smarter way to do this to protect the consumer and get, as President Trump said, the usury rates and get them down, but do it in a more thoughtful manner, incorporating the Consumer Protection Bureau as well as legislation to protect consumers on this and keep the functioning of that credit market going, because it is very, very important for people to pay for their gas, pay for Christmas presents, et cetera. So you want a functioning credit card market, and you don't want people going to loan sharks. You don't want people going to other payday loans again. All things that were throughout history have been there and are more dangerous to the consumer. So you want a healthy credit card market, but yeah, I agree that the rates could come down. I'm just not quite sure that the way that President Trump is going about it is the right way.
Yeah, and it's about how they negotiate what healthy means, right? Because right now they're making like 6 times any other assets on these credit card things. So they're doing plenty well. But I appreciate the way you laid that out.
One other point just on that, Chris, just, in the bond market, they finance these credit card receivables and they take them, they structure them, they issue them out. When they do that, they get rates of treasuries plus 70 basis points. So you're looking at a 10-year bond, a 10-year treasury at 4%, they can issue it at 4.7. So they can finance that credit card business at 4.7%. And meanwhile, you can see where that spread is up in the high teens. So it is a very profitable business for JP Morgan and all the other banks, and they do not want to see that cash cow go away.
General, thank you very much for your insight. Johnny, thank you for your insight. General, don't I look much better with the glasses than he does?
Yes,
and not
you
just
do.
because of the cotton top.
You're a singularly
right?
handsome man with the glasses.
Yeah, thank you, General. Thank you very much. That's all. We're done. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you again. That's got a sting, Johnny. He's got a little something right here. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.